I'm still here. And so is the Lifetime movie tonight. Groundbreaking, totally different format than you've ever seen before.
In her first letter to Dylan, he reads between the lines.
She wrote me, but she indirectly wrote him through me. I wrote back, woman, you said his name 7 times and mine twice. I said, you know what? I'm good.
Dylan fears that his new pen pal is just another Chris Watts groupie. But Krista insists she has no romantic interest in the cold-blooded killer. Dylan ignores his intuition. Dylan resurfaces from seclusion and later discovers that Krista has talked to the media, including an exclusive with DailyMail.com. He suspects that Krista is exploiting her connection to the killer, but Dylan overlooks the red flag.
Well, everything's fluid in this case. Everything is fluid, and it can happen. But the main thing is, tonight's groundbreaking, historic, Lifetime movie is not the usual narrative of Chris Watts acted alone in a fit of temper. It's not that. It's going to throw shade on that.
However, soon after our interview, Krista, Raquello, and Dylan part ways. The YouTube appearances, articles like the DailyMail.com exclusive, and interviews are all too much for Dylan. He now believes that Krista used him to get close to Chris Watts.
I tell you what, you know a lot more than anybody else, don't you? And I understand you keeping your cards close to the chest, but you know a lot more than the rest of the people.
I mean, weren't they saying that Krista knew Chris and talked to him? Because that's not accurate. Yeah. It's not accurate. They never had a correspondence or contact or even talked on the phone.
So we'll finally get close to the infamous murderer she's wanted to know all along.
Chris got on the phone and said hello and was like, how are you? And he's like, I hope you're not mad I gave Dylan the letter. Like, I don't think I didn't want to write to you. It wasn't that. You know, I'm like, it's totally fine. We're good. You know, thanks for the hookup with your boy. I appreciate it. This is great. And we just started talking and laughing, and he was really nice.
Now, Krista has what she's been wanting all along. A true connection with a notorious killer. When asked exactly what Chris has told him about the murders, Dylan refuses to say.
You know, I can't answer that, no. Even though I want to say it. That's all I'm saying for the record.
The only disappointment for me is all the adverts, all the previews sort of pointed, oh yeah, maybe Chris didn't act alone. And then they spent an hour saying he did act alone. So we get that, but there you go. Can't have everything, I suppose. But Dylan's at the end there, on the program, they said, well, what do you think, Dylan? And he said, I can't tell you. But that's good. I didn't say, why can't you tell you? And he just said it's an ongoing investigation. But they didn't put that in. Basically, they said that you have a mistaken belief that Chris didn't do it at the end, right? So they say, right, let's ask him. And they say, right, Dylan, what makes you believe that Chris didn't do it? And you said, I can't tell you. I heard you say that.
What they were asking me there was they're seeking information involving an open investigation.
You know, and we've said this before, there is ongoing investigation on Chris's side about DNA and stuff like that. Remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me that, and that's what it was. And you were told by Chris, not to say anything, right?
Well, I
More or
just
less.
know with open, ongoing investigations that you just can't put everything right out there.
Say what?
With open, ongoing investigations.
Roger on Union 121.
Knowing how heinous his actions must sound, Chris invokes religion into their conversations, as if he's a changed man. But Sherilyn believes that Chris uses religion in an attempt to manipulate her and others around him.
I can remember we were sitting at the prison and he was talking very much about demonic things. I didn't realize until much into the conversation that he was manipulating me into thinking that it was these dark creatures or dark spirit around him that he was blaming for the murders instead of it being him. He was possessed, and that's, I think, how he wanted the narrative to be. He was manipulating me into that, and it almost worked at times.
And do you know when this is going to happen? Is it in the near future? There's going to be a statement from Chris or something about an ongoing investigation?
That's on Chris in the courts, but
I like the way you're sticking to your story. You haven't changed it. Everyone says you have, but you haven't. You don't think Chris did it. You think there was DNA in the house, and you think they're not going to investigate because they got their man. And I think that's what we learned from this. Do you think then down the line something's going to happen? There's going to be this investigation will turn, in your opinion?
down the line,
Something's going to happen to change the conviction?
I pray so. You can only leave it in God's hands.
And is they locked him up just because he said he did it. They didn't have nothing, did they? Hardly. They had a narrative, not much evidence. They just went with it.
Basically, yeah. I mean, if there was anything else, I think everyone would know. But there's no
evidence that other people were involved, because and I know what you're talking about. There's DNA evidence in the house, right?
They won't open this unless he gets his conviction overturned, basically. Then they'll start looking into it. Isn't that crazy how they don't look into it now? I mean, Colorado should really do their job. I don't care if they hear me or not.
They won't look into these other people unless his conviction's overturned. I didn't know that. It's come as a shock to me. They won't investigate because a man's locked up for it, even though they've got DNA on 4 other people. That's abysmal.
Exactly.
Just to save money, right? I didn't know that they would have evidence and not use it unless the conviction's overturned. That's a big shock to me.
They would have made arrests that night if that were the law, AD. They would have made some arrests. And
because he took this plea deal, they're not bothered then. Is that what you're saying? Because they got a man locked up, they're not bothered to investigate the rest of them.
Yeah, it gives them an excuse not to enforce the law.
That's what we've got to look at next. Okay. Thanks for telling us that, Dylan, and give us something to work with,
Since Watts never disclosed details in court about how he killed his family, the public has been frothing at the mouth for answers. Conspiracy and true crime enthusiasts on social media have turned the case into a murder mystery.
There's so much out there of people that have joined his family and saying he did not commit this murders. It was, planned by other people, or he didn't kill the girls. There's different narratives out there.
Busted again. Oh, my Lord.
an ongoing investigation.
I like the way you're sticking to your story. You haven't changed it. Everyone says you have, but you haven't. You don't think Chris did it. You think there was DNA in the house, and you think they're not going to investigate. That's what we've got to look at next. Okay. Thanks for telling us that, Dylan, and give us something to work with, you know. I've never heard this claptrap in all my life.